Versatility is the name of the game when looking for the right vehicle. While some vehicles are very niche and deliver some components, others check off a lot of the boxes we're looking for. This one behind me is such the case. Hey, welcome to Station Road Warrior. I'm your host, Grant Roberson. Now behind me is the 2020 BMW X5 X-Drive 45e. All that said basically means it delivers that sport, but also some hybrid-esque technology, giving you the hybrid electric and full combustion world, which means you have, well, neck snapping fun or some environmentally friendly components when you need them. Now, at first glance, this X5 definitely confused me because it doesn't spell hybrid at all anywhere on the outside of the vehicle, nor does it look like a plug-and-play type of vehicle. Instead, it looks like it's dressing things up more for the drag strip than the grocery store parking lot. It all starts at the four corners, nice open face rims with that proverbial blue brake caliper with the, of course, M adorned on the side, matching nicely with those Pirelli tires. Last time I drove a Toyota Prius, well, it didn't look anything like this. Now, the reason for the adornment at the four corners is because this vehicle came with the additional M Series Sports package for around about $5,500. In contrast, it also came with the executive package for the inside around about $4,000. So depending on what you're wearing behind the steering wheel, you can either dress up for the board meeting or get ready for the racetrack. The X5 certainly is all about the sculpting, and even though this has some hybrid and electric technology, it wants to blend in with the likes of the sport models versus grocery go-getters. Silhouette really starting to tone now, elongated roofline and really a stretched overall body. Pretty much nice and planted to the ground, not giving that proverbial robustness that we see with a lot of SUVs. This really blending the lines of kind of that sporty sedan and sporty SUV. Now, what I like again is the sculpting down the side, modest ridge line right through here, then sweeps up here at the back end. A little bit of venting here on the side for a little added sport effect, but the big sport, and you could say aggressive side of this vehicle is right here front and center. The traditional kitty-shaped grills set the tone, certainly with this X5. So it doesn't matter how an SUV looks, it has to deliver, and it does that, of course, under the hood, but more importantly, with its overall size. A vehicle too sporty means, well, it's just too compromising when it comes to overall volume, when it comes to people and cargo. Now, this vehicle delivers with overall size about 194 inches, wheelbase around about 117. As for width, fairly decent at about 87 inches, including these protrusions here. As for height, fairly decent at about 68 inches. And that's one thing you're going to find with traditional bigger SUVs is, well, it's going to elevate the overall size and make you feel a little squeamish when you get into those tight spots, traditionally the good old parking garage. Lastly is ground clearance. Now, I alluded to that this vehicle has kind of that planted look, but it still delivers decent ground clearance around about 8.3 inches. Now, the versatility factor when it comes to this vehicle is the fact that it has that electric and hybrid technology, but also it can still get the job done. Decades ago when hybrid first came out, well, the interior volume was really eaten up by that battery component, really filling the inside, but obviously advancements have trimmed that down and pretty much go unnoticed when you climb inside this vehicle. And it all starts here at the business end of this vehicle. Obviously at the front, you got the sport. At the back, you got the utilitarian side. Now, before we climb inside, let's talk about design. Around this vehicle pretty much body color all the way around, even right down to the door handles. Even at the lower third, no proverbial rubber cladding, but instead body color sweeping all the way down this vehicle. The only touches of chrome, well, you're going to see them back here for one on the dual exhaust, almost as wide to hint at this could be a quad pipe system. Really nice and pronounced. Now, looking at the rear hatch, first off, really a huge swath of glass, giving you great visibility out the back, almost a 360 panoramic view. Well, you could also say 360 up top because this whole roof is that traditional glass, give you a nice view up above. As for safety, backup sensors, backup camera to be expected. Now, the rear hatch, kind of a two-part system. First off, the upper segment, got a release right here, just simply press that. Going to rise to the occasion powered, of course, to be expected. Now the overall height, once it gets up out of the way, nice, about 6 foot 2 inches, because I'm just below that, so even my overall lanky frame cannot find a headbanging affair even if I tried. Now down below you're going to find this lower portion. Now this kind of acts like a little holding spot for your items should they slide around, but if you need to have traditional access, just simply press this button right here and it's going to ease right down. Even better, this does make for a nice tailgating spot when you need it, but also sliding things in as well, making this transition for cargo so much easier. Now, a couple other things to point out here on this lower part of the tailgate, you will find 2 buttons. One obviously to lower this, but the other one adjusts the overall height here at the back. This obviously has that lift assist when you need it, but you may forget to do it as you're getting ready to do the tailgate and your feet might be a dangling. Well, real easy, just simply press that button and this rear end is going to lower down nice and easy. Little green indicator light to let you know it is operating. Now to cinch all this up, 2-step process if you prefer. You can press this, lift this out of the way, press that, it will close right up. But in a hurry, maybe in the rain, just simply press right there and everything closes in one fell swoop. Lastly, one thing you don't think of is towing capabilities when it comes to electric and hybrid technology, but certainly this vehicle is a powerhouse when needed. Basically, hooking right up means you can deliver around about 7,200 pounds of toys to the lake. So the X5 specifically is a PHEV vehicle, plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. It pretty much means you can, well, charge it up overnight, giving that full electric component when you want to use it, or of course that hybrid technology blending in the best of all worlds, and certainly gasoline on demand should, well, you just want to go old school. Now, there's a lot of things going on under this hood. Specifically, what you're seeing here is the new xDrive's 45E, which it greatly enhances the overall performance. Now, this is a 3.0 liter 6-cylinder twin power turbocharged internal combustion engine. Now, that replaces the previous generation's 2.0 liter 4-cylinder twin turbo. The compound power now on the new PHEV drivetrain is around about 389 horses, a bump of 81 horses compared to last year. Torque is around about 443 foot-pounds. That is an increase of a whopping 111. Now 0 to 60 numbers is around about 5.3 seconds or 1.2 seconds faster than the previous model. The high voltage battery grows in size to 24 kWh, up from the previous X5's 12 kWh system. This all spells out when it comes to the overall electric power range. Previous was around about 14 miles. Now with the all-electric mode, around about 30-mile range. Electric-only top speeds went from 75 to 84 miles per hour. Now, I mentioned earlier about the compromises that came with hybrid when it came to overall storage on the inside, batteries being a huge component of really taking up space, but BMW is really the forward thinker and evident of where we're headed, mainly with the high voltage battery system really barely impacting the rear end. From the standard X5, you're only losing about an average of 1 cubic foot there in the cargo space, and that's mainly because the high voltage battery is positioned in the underbody and really doesn't compromise what we saw there at the back end. Front cylinder dash going to be a nice, huge, oversized touchscreen system that you can interact with the traditional finger touch or down below with the central control knob. Now, the central control knob really works well, as you can tell, scrolling through the satellite radio, which seems endless with choices, and being able to kind of dial in specifically what you're looking for really helps out nicely. Now, if you hit the home button, that will give you this nice split screen option, shortcuts down over here on the left as well. Nice, clear, colorful viewpoint. Really like how BMW delivers. Nothing unexpected when it comes to climate control, seeing this on the last several BMWs I tested. What I do like is it is a tri-zone system, dual zones up front, single zone for the back occupants, even right down at the front, different fan speeds, temperature select, and even mode select as well. Now, I did have a second to take to find the sync option. Basically, when I'm driving by myself, I want these to be the same. You can certainly dial it up and down, but the way you get there is just simply pressing the menu button here, then go up to the screen up above, and you'll see the little synchronize button. Just simply press that right there. That's going to sync everything up real nice and quick, allowing these to be the same for everything you do. Basically, it's going to mirror each other. Normally the dash is the wow factor, but I'd argue between the front occupants may grab your attention first. First off, with this crystal ball in the form of the gear shifter, press the button on the side, pull back for drive, push forward for reverse. You can also go to a manual-like mode, switch it over here, and that allows you to use the paddle shifters there on the dash. You also have just a straightforward start-stop button here, as well as some other shortcuts. Now, this is the central knob, real easy to use, but again, the touchscreen is barely an arm stretch away, so I did interact with both. BMW makes it nice and easy. Now, over here on the side, you do have tons of options when it comes to driving capabilities: sport, hybrid, electric, and adaptive, and you can of course choose those as you're going down the road. Now, this is smart car, so it does tend to pick the best option for you, really always starting in the hybrid mode for the most part, and you can go to the full electric mode, and I'll show you more of that when you interact with the gauge cluster. Ride height can be adjusted over here on the side. Just simply press up and you'll see it start to elevate, or just simply pull down and it will lower with ease. Keeping everything nice and sleek is this cover, kind of this carbon fiber adornment. Just simply press the button, it will quickly retract, revealing dual cup holders up front, as well as a wireless charging pad over here. Just simply take your so-equipped phone, slide it up here with ease. Non-traditional when it comes to the gauge cluster, specifically a huge LCD display, really giving you lots of information. On the left side, you're going to find digital readout for speed, as well as tachometer and fuel gauge there on the bottom left. On the right side, you're going to find more information, but most notably really is the e-boost assist there on the top. Down there on the bottom right is going to be your battery indicator, pretty much the charged up side of things. Now, what's interesting is I did go somewhere to charge this up while we're eating dinner in a parking garage. Had it there for about an hour. That did give me about a 6-mile range on electric only. The only issue I had was when hybrid was engaged, it tended to tap into that resource. So before I knew it, I couldn't even tap into the all electric mode. Well, because the hybrid had already done that. Tons of operation going on. First off, heated steering wheel as well as heated seats up front. Also tons of operation over here on the right side when it comes to entertainment. Now, this has a little toggle switch, actually relates to the heads-up display, allows you to kind of scroll through the various station selections, other menu options here as well that relates volume as selection up above. Now, over here on the left side, really nice and adaptive cruise control. And what this button does is allows this vehicle to sense the lane you're in. Really helps with driver fatigue. Now, you can't go hands-free, but because it will give you illuminator lights. Should you let go, it's going to warn you to put them back on. Also, spacing when it comes to traffic over here on the left side, get a little bit closer over here on the right side, give you a little bit more distance. Now, the big story really is what goes on here in the gauge cluster. When you're on that setting, this is going to turn, instead of from navigation, to the roadway. And if you have a 2-lane, 1-lane, it's going to translate right through here. And as traffic builds, it's going to actually act like a radar, tell you what's going on around you, either in front, to the side, even kind of knows the difference in vehicles. Now, if it's a traditional truck or car SUV, that's going to be in the form of a traditional looking silhouette. But when it comes to a full size like 18-wheeler, well, it's actually going to indicate that there in the radar-like mechanism, really allowing this vehicle to be kind of forward thinking and knowing what's going on ahead of the driver. When it comes to legroom numbers, you're going to find decent space overall, 39 inches in the front, 37 inches here in the back. Now, I mentioned earlier about tri-zone climate system. You'll see that in the back of the front center console. Real easy to use. Also have nice elbow support between the back occupants, dual cup holders as well. As for the overall styling, modest individualized attention on the outer sides, not too sport bucket. Also great elevation to the overall bottom cushion, really bench styling through the middle, but nice and elevated overall. Lastly is helping with the overall environmental experience. I call them limo shades, but most people call them sunshades. You'll find it here in the back in the form of a manual operation. Just simply pop it up and hook it into place. Pilot and co-pilot get great comfort with the power controls. First off with traditional operation, but also that extra front thigh support by extending it out. Almost makes it feel like a lazy boy chair. Extra great bolstering found through here, and the operation for the seat back, not traditional. And you got the typical up and down, but also this extra articulation, which is for the upper area. Basically just press it there, it will kind of protrude forward or pull it back. Also, overall headrest support is done in the automated sense by simply pulling up and down and telescoping the headrest where you need it. Now that does it for this edition. We're in a test drive behind the wheel of the 2021 BMW X5 with the X-Drive System 45E, a big mouthful that really spells out electrical hybrid components in it all there at the fingertip of how the driver wants to interact with it. But at the end of the day, it still delivers that proverbial sport that we all look for when it comes to those kidney-shaped grills. And well, you can also take the toys to the lake there at the back end. And don't forget, depending on how you dress, either for the boardroom or the racetrack, this vehicle certainly can deliver. Now, as always, thank you for watching this edition of Road Warrior. Keep both hands on the wheel and eyes straight ahead.